Hey there, nation. Welcome to the show where we show you how to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and now it's time for another edition of Warhammer the Golden Age. This is battle report number 20. This is a 2,000 point battle between myself, House Day Kier of my Dark Elves army, so I'm going Dark Elves of this series of battle reports, versus my buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air of House Lanel, the High Elves. And I gotta be honest with you, it felt kind of good to go back to Warhammer 8th edition. I mean, I've been playing so many different types of rank file games since 8th edition kind of ended. I went with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I went with Ninth Age and the various versions of the Ninth Age as well. And going back to the 8th edition was kind of like coming home again. Is basically how it felt like. It just felt right. It felt like I was back in my element all over again, and it was just great playing another game of 8th edition again. So once again, in these new series of Warhammer the Golden Age, I'm just continuing on my 8th edition Warhammer battle reports. Only this time we're doing a 2,000 points, so that way you guys get a look at that for Throwback Thursdays. We'll be doing this every other week, every other Thursday, alternating between this game as well as my Tales of the Underhive, which is my Necromunda campaign. So both these games are both in the past, and so every Thursday we rotate between these two games. So with that being said, let's go and talk about the armies for this one. All right, let's talk about my army, the House Day Kier, the Golden Reavers of Skyros. It is a 2,000 point Dark Elves army. For my lords and heroes, we have Beast Lord Rakarth Day Kier and Kalibos, the Saint of Slavers. He is a high beast master, equipped with a Sword of Might, Enchanted Shield, Cloak of Twilight, Manticore with Ironheart skin, and Blind Rage upgrades. Next, my next lord choice is Sister Sinner. She is the Exalted Oracle of Cost. She is a Supreme Sorceress level 4 upgrade. She is also equipped with the Sacrificial Dagger, Obsidian Lodestone, and the Path of Dark Magic. And finally, rounding out my characters, I have Captain Lodi Day Kier, the Golden Sun. He is my battle standard bearer with heavy armor, shield, halberd, sea dragon cloak, and the crown of command. Next, we have my core choices: the Phalanx of Kos, is 38 dread spears with full command and standard discipline, and the Morning Dawn, which are 10 dark shards with full command and the Banner of Eternal Flame. My special choices are the Storms of Kos, which are 2 repeat Reaper bolt throwers, Virazil the Broken, who's my War Hydra, and then for my 2 rare choices, we have Rathrek the Maul, he is my Charybdis, and the Jackamore Seers, who are 5 Doomfire Warlocks. So, kind of anxious to see how these guys are doing. I want to try a new army for this Narek series of rounds of battle reports. Got kind of excited to do Dark Elves, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so let's talk about House Lanel, the Silvery Host of Calidor. It is Fresh Prince Bel-Air's 2,000 point High Elf army. For his Lord and Heroes choices, he has Titus Lanel, who is a Lord Master of Hoeth, armed with the Book of Hoeth, as well as a Talisman of Preservation. And his hero choices Rosum Lanel and Pyrite. He is a Dragon Mage of Calidor with a Dragon Armor, Dispel Scroll, Ring of Ruby Ring of Ruin, rather, and a Sun Dragon. For his core choices, he has House Lanel Guards, or 12 Lothern Sea Guard with full command, the Queen's Rangers, or 8 Illyrian Reavers with bows, spears, and shields, and Lord Tywin's Retinue, which are 10 Silverhams with full command. His special choice is the Everwardens, a unit of 23 Phoenix Guards, the Banner of the World Dragon, and for his rare choice, he has 2 of them. He has the Silent Brotherhood, which are 5 Shadow Warriors with a Shadow Walker, and the Reigns of Calidor, which are 2 Eagle Call Bolt Throwers, and that makes up his army for this one. All right, with our army list now complete, it's time for the deployments phase. As you can see, we're fighting on our 4x6 table. My army is located on the near side, while the Silver Hills of Calidor is located on the far side. So let's go and break down to our individual deployment zones and talk about exactly how our armies are laid out. So we're starting on the left-hand side of my deployment zone. As you see on the far left-hand side, we have those Silent Brotherhood, which are those 5 Shadow Walkers. They're kind of chilling on the other side of that little field of corn. Right next to them to the right-hand side, you can see my 5 Doomfire Warlocks, the Shacklemaul Slavers, and right behind them we have on that little hill there, we have the Storms of Kos, which are my 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers located there as well. So that makes the deployment on the left-hand side of my army. My center portion of the board here, as you can see there, I got the Morning Dawn, which are my 10 my 10 repeater crossbowmen, rather, sorry, my Dark Shards. And then right smack in the dab there, we have the Phalanx of Kos. That is my huge 38-man unit of Dread Spears. On either side of that, you have my Battle Standard Bearer, Captain Lodi Day Care, and you also on the left-hand side there, you got Sister Sin, who is my Supreme Sorceress. And then kind of make up the right-hand side of the center lines, giving like a deny flank kind of deployment, or my monster, right, basically my monster mash. We have Rathrek the Maul. He is the monster on the left-hand side. That's my Charybdis. On the right-hand side, we have Virazil the Broken. He is my War Hydra. And right behind both of them, we have the High Beastmaster Rakarth Day Kier, as well as Kalibos, and that's supposed to be a Beastmaster loaded up on his fully upgraded Manticore. So that's deployment on this side. Alright, so this is deployment for the High Elves on the left-hand side. So we have 2 units make up their left flank. We have Lord Tywin's Retinue, which are those 10 Silverhelm Knights, and right next to them to the right, we have Rosum Lanel as well as Pyrite. That's the Dragon Mage of Calidor located right there in those ruins there. So looking pretty ominous on that part. And Mayor is the center as well as right hand flank of his army. As you can see on the left hand side, we have the Queen's Ranger, which are the 8 Lyrian Reavers. Next to them, we have House Lanel Guards, those 12 Lothern Sea Guards. Right next to them, to the right, we have the Everwardens with their general located inside of their Lord Master, the Lord Master of Hoeth. His name is Titos Lanel. He's located there in the front there, and he got 23 Phoenix Guards. And that's going to be a tough nut to crack because those guys are also equipped with the Banner of the World Dragon, which gives a +2 up save against magical attacks. So that's going to be kind of hard. On the right hand side there, we also have the Reigns of Caldor, and those are the 2 repeater bolt throwers. So that makes it the center and right hand deployments for this one. All right, so with deployment done out of the way, we go directly to the top of turn one after movement for the Dark Elves. I get to go first on this part. I rolled off unlucky on that part. So because, as you can see here, we kind of do the hopscotch approach to trying to dodge bolt thrower fire is what you see going on in this picture here. As you can see here, I got all my monsters kind of taking cover behind those trees, and while moving up the rest of my infantry units up kind of forward as well. And my Shacklemore Seers, my 5 Dark Riders, I just kind of, not Dark Riders, sorry, 5 Doomfire Warlocks, just kind of send them flooding to the left-hand side of my deployment area to deal with those 5 Shadow Warriors are coming up on me there. So you can see there, I'm just kind of moving up as gingerly as I can, kind of taking cover of my big monster that when I get shot off the table, and trying to force him to open up with his long-range firepower of his bolt throwers on that huge unit of Dread Spears. As you can see here, here's a close-up of my Shacklemore Series, my 5 Doomfire Warlocks kind of flooding over here to the left-hand side near that field. I kind of keep them out of range or charge distance so that way they can open up with their magic during the magic phase. And here's a close-up of my center portion of my units. As you can see there, I have both Rathric the Maul as well as Beast Lord Rakarth, as well as Kalibos kind of hiding behind that forest there. I know it's not going to be able to prevent the Bolter from hitting them, but it kind of mitigates some of the circumstances. It has to give up 2+ up to where to hit my guys, so that's what that's going on over there. As you see on the right-hand side, I moved up my Dread Spears, my Phalanx of Kos. I'm moving it towards the center, just kind of march them forward 8 inches that way. Try to draw that Bolter fire towards them because a lot of those guys can take the losses. And on the left-hand side there, you got my the Morning Dawn, and I'm kind of shifting there to the left so that way they can open up on that cavalry unit of Highborn Lancers if need be. And here's a close-up of Veers of the Broken, kind of inching forward behind that forest and trying to keep cover from behind that bolt thrower as well. And I'm trying to get him up there just so that way you can start bogging down that unit of Phoenix Guard that's located there across from him. During the magic phase, I managed to get out Soul Blight onto those units of Shadow Warriors. I'm giving them -1 to strength as well as -1 to their toughness as well. So that was kind of helpful. My goal originally was to cast Soul Blight and then hit him with a Doom Bolt and just wipe that unit off the table. But unfortunately, my Doom Bolt spell from my Doomfire Warlocks was dispelled by my enemies. So didn't get a chance to do that part. And in the center portion here of the board, I managed to get Power of Darkness off into my unit of Dread Spears. I originally would try to cast that spell in order to pull out some of my opponent's Dispel dice, but he saw right through it, so let me have it for +1 strength. So I did get that. I also got additional 2 more magic dice, but the rest of my spells are basically dispelled by my opponent, so that part was kind of rough. So magic was kind of lackluster in this round. So with magic over, go directly to the shooting phase. In the shooting phase, I managed to plink off one of those Eagle Call bolt throwers. I had both of my bolt throwers, my Reaper bolt throwers, open up on one of them. So I managed to hit that guy. I managed to clink that guy off the table as well. I tried to fire my second bolt thrower into that other Eagle Claw bolt thrower, but I missed on that part. So no moss on that part. So that was kind of sad. But you know what? As well as repeater bolt thrower for me to worry about. So with shooting over, with this side of the board, we go to the next part of the board. And over here on the left-hand side, my Dark Shards, the Morning Dawn, they opened up with the Repeater Crossbows. Now, Repeater Crossbows was kind of like a hard one for me to hit on this one. I had to take the -1 hit because of the fact that I moved. I had to take a -1 hit because I also was firing on multiple shots. And I had to take a -1 hit because I was opening up at long range as well. So I needed 6s to manage to get that field of fire. I opened up a lot of shots, but because of the amount of misfires I was taking, because of the distances and everything else involved, I managed to plink off one of those guys. But you know what? I'll take it. One left, one dead Highborn Elf is one less I got to worry about, so that part was kind of cool. So with shooting over, there's no close combat really going on, so because that, we go to the top of turn number 1 for the High Elves. So here's a close-up after turn number 1 for after movement for the High Elves rather. As you can see there, the Shadow Warriors try to charge my Doomfire Warlocks. I decided to flee as a reaction for that. I got away pretty dope on that part. So they tested restraint, they did, but they realized that there was nothing else from the charge. So pretty much those Shadow Warriors are just kind of stuck there and kind of irrelevant at this point. So kudos to my guys running away like that. As for the rest of his army, as you can see in this picture, they're all kind of moving up quickly as they possibly can. You got the silver helms kind of moving up there on the left hand side. We're getting ready to flank charge my hit me in the left hand flank there with my morning dawn. You also have his dragon mage as well as his level 2 mage on top of it, getting behind that castle wall, kind of hiding behind that tower so that way it doesn't get sniped up by my bolt throwers. His Illyrian reavers kind of move up as well to start taking pot shots at my troops. I think he's doing that to kind of draw out my monsters. That way he was hoping I would charge at them, and then he'll be able to flee and won't be able to go after them. So that was the plan there on that part. And as you can see there on the right hand side, his Phoenix Guard also move up as well, taking up a blocking position right there next to that forest. That way he's ready to take on my Hydra. So with movement done out of the way, we go directly into the magic phase. Magic phase is pretty lackluster this turn coming up. We managed to get like 4 power dice and things. What do you manage to get? And I got 3 of them. I also managed to channel like another one as well. So his magic was really going nowhere on this round. So I managed to shut down all of it, dispel all of his spells at the same time. Shooting phase is also kind of lackluster as well. He opened up with all 3 of his units. He opened up with his Illyrian Reavers. He also opened up with his Lothar and Seaguard, as well as his Bolt Thrower onto my unit of Dread Spears right there in the middle. Only managed to plink off 4 guys. So shooting and magic was pretty much lackluster in this round, and his dice kind of abandoned him for this whole kind of portion of his phase. So that's kind of sad for my buddy Fresh Prince Bel Air. So without any shooting done and there's no more close combat being had, that's the end of turn number 1. We go directly to top number 2 for the Dark Elves. Alright, so this is top of turn 2 after moving for the Dark Elves. As you can see in this picture, I just sent my monsters charging forward as quickly as they possibly go. I decided to go on the offense on that part. It was actually kind of interesting. I went to go charge originally with my Manticore. My Manticore passed the leadership test. I didn't worry about him uncontrollably charging at the Illyrian Reavers. However, I did originally declare a charge at the Illyrian Reavers, and just like clockwork, my opponent did decide to flee. I tested to restrain. I held my guy back, so because of that, his which you call little Illyrian Reavers ran away on that part, so that part was kind of cool as well. So then I redirected my charge directly at those Silverhelm Knights over there on the left-hand side, managed to make that charge rain, crash into those guys. So Rakarth of Dakir, as well as his Kalibos Manticore, got to leash the pain on those guys, so it's going to be kind of cool in that part. And then Rathrek the Maw, he charged directly into the Dragon Mage, because let's face it, Rathrek the Maw is designed for one thing. Charybdises are designed to kill monsters, and so I sent him directly into that part. And on the right hand side, as you can see there, I also sent Virazel the Broken charging directly into the Phoenix Guard. I'm thinking that I might have made a mistake on that part because I'm sending that Hydra all by himself to take on a huge block of Phoenix Guard. So might have made a tactical error on that part. I should have probably charged him. I should have probably held him back and waited for the Phoenix Guard to come to me and then, charge my Dread Spears into him. But, hindsight's 50-50. So, yeah. And as, of course, my other 2 units, the Phalanx of Cost as well as my Morning Dawn, they kind of just move up forward a little bit to get into better positions, open fire, and to charge anything that might be coming my way. So, yeah, that's moving on this one. Alright, so here's a close-up of the Saint of Slavers charging in directly into those silver helms there on the top. I'm looking forward to this part because I have the Beast Blaster ability, so because of that, I give my Manticore D3 additional attacks on top of that. And he's also got Killing Blow, which makes that Manticore even deadlier in my opinion. And then on top of that, I also got Blind Rage on him. It gives my opponents a +1 to hit on my Manticore, but it also gives my Manticore additional D3 attacks on that part as well. And in fact, when I rolled that to see what kind of attacks you'd get, it ended up getting 6 total attacks, which gave, I think, like 11 attacks to my Manticore with Killing Blow, which is freaking out amazing. And then plus you attack the attacks that my Beast Lord has as well. Just an epic combination. And also on the right hand side there, you can see a close up of Rathrek the Maw charging directly into that dragon Dragon Mage as well. So about to bring the pain this next round. And here's a close-up of Virazel the Broken charging directly into that unit of Phoenix Guard. And I think I might have made a mistake on that part. So yeah, no win on that part. But you know what? I also want to see if this guy Virazel the Maw Virazel the Broken could also do. I want to see what a War Hydra could possibly do against a pretty tough unit like that. So it'd be kind of nice to see what happens. And if he fails, well, that'd be a very costly mistake on my part. And the curse of lackluster magic as well as shooting phases also hit me too. So during this round, I think I got 3 power dice. I think I got a 2 and a 1. So because of that, I didn't have very much magic going on, and my magic got dispelled. My opponent, my shooting was absolutely atrocious. Didn't manage to hit anything I was aiming for. So because I go directly into the combat phase, and I can see in this picture, we just bring the pain on this. I managed to wipe out, I think like 6 or 7 of these silver helms just from my Manticore alone with his killing blow. I think I killing blowed like 3 of them, and the rest he just did through his regular strength as well as just going through their toughness and everything else like that as well. And I think Rakarth also killed a couple of 1 or 2 guys as well. So it was pretty brutal for my opponent. My opponent tried to strike back. He dedicated 4 of his attacks to my Manticore Calibos. He also directed 4 attacks against Rakarth Daycare as well. My Beast Lord. His attacks were basically kind of raining down harmlessly. Not much really happened. Thank God, because that Sea Dragon Cloak really helps out, especially when you're in that situation. When combined out with the Enchanted Shield, really give me that additional bonus to save I needed to have as well. So combat was absolutely brutal on this part. That Manticore just tore right into them. I forgot to take a picture of it, but of course those silver helms were forced to break on that part. They broke, I pursued, I destroyed them, and so that unit is now out of commission on that part. On right here on the right hand side, Rathric the Maw just destroyed that dragon mage. Luckily for me, I was able to manage to shrug off most of the wounds that were coming my way in terms of close combat because luckily, and also at the same time we were engaged in close combat as well, so that part was kind of neat between the monsters. The dragon mage doesn't really do much damage because he's just a mage. The real fight really was between Pyrite, his dragon, as well as Rathric the Maw as well, and they went at it to each other and just opened up on each other. What really saved me in this fight was poison attacks because I get automatically wounds on those, automatically wound, and they have to take armor saves against those, as well as my stomp attack as well. So that part really helped me out as well. His high strength is ridiculous. Rathric the Maw has like a strength of 7, so he was able to just get rid of that scaly save, that scaly skin save that dragon magic get off as well. My opponent did use his breath attack on me within his close combat with the fire, so I did not receive any regeneration saves, but he rolled really poorly on his breath attack. I think he rolled like snake eyes, and then like he rolled like a 2 and a 3, I think. So because of that, he wasn't really able to damage Rathric the Maw. So Rathmech the Raw just curb stomped that dragon mage and just wiped that unit off the face of the table. So chalk 2 dead for both of my monsters so far, and this is looking pretty epic. And because I destroyed that unit within 12 inches of another unit with with just like the amount of fury that this guy unleashed, those Illyrian Reavers had to take a panic test. They failed the panic test and they fled. And because they fled past the Lothran Seaguard, Lothran Seaguard had to take a panic test as well. They failed the leadership role, even though they're near that even though they're near that BSB, didn't really help them out at all. They turned around and they also fled as well. So because of that, that whole center line is now fleeing for it. So that guy, that Dragon Mage, must have been popular because once my Wrathbrick the Maw ate him alive, they just ran for the hills. So that was actually kind of cool. Which kind of goes into the fluff of what the Charybdis is all about. It's got an abyssal howl, and this is like this really terrifying deep sea monster just kind of rose up and just ate a dragon alive in front of everybody. So yeah, pretty epic as far as that goes. And close combat over here was absolutely ridiculous. I think I only managed to kill one of those Phoenix guards. With my breath attack, my thunder stomps, as well as my regular attacks as well, it was ridiculous. I did not manage to get anything off on that part as well. And they also dropped me like 4 wounds as well during the close combat phase. So because that I automatically broke, my poor Fearzel the Broken had to run. The Phoenix guard gave pursuit to go after him. Luckily for me, however, they were unable to chase him down, so now they're stuck in pursuing him the entire time. However, I did manage to heal up some of Varicel the Broken's wounds due to his regeneration ability. So out of that combat, he only lost 1 wound really out of that entire thing. So that was kind of nice. But man, Phoenix Guard are the illest. I forgot how tough they are within the world of Warhammer 8th Edition. I basically got nothing done in that combat. It was pretty brutal. All right, so that takes us to the bottom of turn number 2 after move for the high elves. As you can see in this picture here, his Shadow Warriors kind of move up closer in order to engage me in long range fire with their bows against my Doomfire Warlocks, against my Shacklemore Seers. So that's moving on this side of the board. As for the rest of the movement that was going on over here, the rest of the board, he basically restrained his pursuit roll with his Phoenix Guards. So because of that, they stopped chasing Virzel the Broken. Virzel the Broken continued running to those with force and managed to take up another wound in terms of dangerous terrain tests. So that part was kind of rough. So because he restrained his Phoenix Guard, he kind of turned to the side there in order to gain the force on either side of his flanks there to kind of protect him and break up any steadfast rules I might have charging at him. And as you can see in the back there, he also re-rallied up his Illyrian Reavers as well as Lothran Sea Guards. So not much movement going on this part, just him just kind of like regaining his back foot after being hit pretty hard that last round. During the magic phase, he tries to get off Weason's wild form, and he managed to get the spell off, giving his unit of Phoenix Guard +1 toughness and +1 strength. However, he did so with a miscast roll in that part, so because of that, all kinds of crazes happen, and his stuff just basically falls apart. The small little explosive template is used, however, he doesn't lose a single Phoenix Guard because they have ward saves, as well as the Banner of the World Dragon. So because of that, nothing really happens to that unit at all. They pretty much survive. Now, shooting phase is also out of the picture too because his Lothran Sea Guard were fleeing that last turn, same as Illyrian Reavers. His bolt tryers open up on one of my on the Rathric the Maw, but he misses, so because that shooting's gone, and since no close combat, that's the end of turn number 2 for the High Elves. Alright, so at the top of turn number 3 after moving for the Dark Elves, as you can see here, basically I just started bum rushing everything I could as quickly as possible. During the charge phase, I managed to get the Fantasy cost charged directly right into that unit of Phoenix Guard as well. I also move up. I also charge Rathric the Maul into that unit of Illyrian Reavers as well. They managed to fast their terror checks, so because of that, they pretty much stay where they're located on that part. I also tried to march. I also marched my General Rakarth Daycare as well as Kalibo, so that way they can start hitting the flanks of that Phoenix Guard. And at the end of that round, of course, I also managed to rally Fears of the Broken. He turned around, and so luckily the idea is I'm going to get him in a three-way attack, kind of envelop him, have my monsters on the flanks, my Dread Spears in the front. However, that plan only works if my Dread Spears can manage to survive this round of combat, because that's a lot of Phoenix Guard, and they're a lot tougher than my guys are. So that's what's happening over there. Also on the left-hand side there, I also got my little morning dawn, trying to moving up as quickly as they can, so that way they can open up on those any units that get in close combat with them. And I forgot to show that in this last round over here as well during the charge phase. I also charged my Doomfire Warlocks, my Shacklemore Seers into that unit of Shadow Warriors as well. Now this is a picture that's also from the Magic phase as well. So the Magic phase, I managed to get Soul Blight off onto this unit as well, give him -1 strength and -1 toughness, and since I'm engaged in close combat, I really can't cast my Magic Missile, the Doom Bolt on them. So, however, that's going to help me out with this next combat coming out. It kind of makes them easier to wound because they got a lower toughness now. So that's kind of nice. And I absolutely dominated this Magic phase. My opponent's Dispel dice just kind of abandoned him in this last round, so that part was actually kind of part on that part, so it was kind of neat on that as far as that went. First of all, I cast off several spells at the same time during this time period. I managed to cast off my Power of Darkness spells that give me +1 strength to my unit. Also got me 3 additional Power dice on top of that. As a side effect, I did lose a wound off of my cast, my Supreme Sorceress, because of that. So Sister Sinner is now down 1 wound on that part. So that part was kind of sad. But I also got +1 strength from my Dark Elves and additional Magic dice, which really helped me out for this next round as well. As you can see, also I managed to cast off that Despair of Shadow spell. So because of that, that unit Phoenix Guard now has -1 leadership. They also have no Inspiring Presence rules. Same thing with no Hold Your Ground rules either. So because of that, they have to be testing on their break test for the next one without a -1 leadership on that part. So that part's kind of nice as well. Whatever help I can get from my Dark Elf units going into this close combat is going to be extremely important for me. So with that being done, we move on directly to the close combat phase. And the very first thing we do when we get to the close combat phase is that I issue a challenge. My captain, who is my master, who is also my battle standard bearer for this unit of Dread Spears, he challenges his Lord Master of Hoeth to individual combat. He accepts. The two of them basically go at it. I lost a wound on my Captain Lodi Daycare. He managed to lose wounds, so the Golden Sun is down 1 wound. But as a trade-off, I curb stomped that Lord Master into the ground and managed to kill him. So now he has no more definitely doesn't have any more Inspiring Presence roll, because now his general is now dead. So that part was kind of cool. That challenge went exactly as I hoped, and I just basically beat him down. So that part was kind of nice. However, the falling combat was not as good between the Dread Spears and the Phoenix Guard. I managed to kill 3 Phoenix Guard, but they managed to kill 10 Dread Spears at the same time. It was pretty brutal, so it's kind of like I got my revenge. My opponent got the revenge on that part. Technically speaking, I lost this combat. I lost it bad. I lost by 4 points, and normally I would have to break on a -4, which gives me leadership 4. But my battle standard bearer does have the crown of command, so because that his unit is stubborn and they have to worry about losing any losses on that part, they managed to roll off his unmodified roll. They had to do it twice. I actually failed the first roll, and I was like, oh no! I thought my guys were going to break, but luckily for me, because I got the reroll because my battle standard bearer was there, they managed to hold into place there. So that part was kind of cool, and that's the way I kind of designed this unit to be like a bogged down unit. I got a lot of Dread Spears with stubborn, so that part's kind of nice as well. So I got them definitely fixed in. So those guys are definitely staying there, and all I gotta do now is just for the next round rush in my monsters and just take him out on my turn. So that part was pretty cool. As for combat between Rathric the Maul and the Illyrian Reavers, those Illyrian Reavers did not stand a chance whatsoever. They managed to put a wound onto Rothric the Maul, so that part was kind of sad, but between his poison attacks and his stomp, that unit was just destroyed, no problem whatsoever. Luckily for my opponent, his Lothran Seaguard did not panic that turn, so they managed to stay their ground. So I'm not even going to worry about those guys. I turn Rothric over to look over towards those Phoenix Guards, because he's going to be jumping to the fray here too in a little bit to help out. So combat was definitely going my way on this one. When my opponent's turn came up, instead of going out the rest of his turn, he kind of looks around the rest of the board, realizes that the only thing he has going for him is just the combat that's going to be taking place right there in the center. I forgot to mention in the left-hand corner, my Doomfire Warlocks managed to kill off all 5 of those Shadow Warriors. The Shadow Warriors managed to kill one of my Doomfire Warlocks as well, but we eliminated that unit. I forgot to bring that up. But he realizes now at this point that the only thing he's got left is his Lothran Sea Guard, his Bolt Thrower, and then his Phoenix Guards. And I'm going to swarm his Phoenix Guard here a little bit with my monsters, probably destroy that unit and then move up to that hill. So instead of He decided he's not going to waste any more time. He decides he's going to surrender at that point. So that brings us right now to the end of the game on that part. So as you see there's nothing left but dark elves as well as monsters. So my opponent decides that's just going to be it. And that brings us to the end of this battle. So with that, we go directly to the after action report because this game is now over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
All right, now it's time for the after action report. This is part of the battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we go at it. So this was a battle, 2,000 point Warhammer 8th edition battle between myself of House Daycare, my Dark Elves, versus my buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air of House Lane, the High Elves. And it was a victory for Commander Cheapskate on this part. So to be honest, it feels like to be back. It's like coming home again. It's always a good feeling whenever I get to play Warhammer 8th edition. It was what I raised up in, it was what I grew up in. It's my home, it's my air, it's the food that I drink. It's kind of like that. So it's kind of like nice going back on that part. So yeah, definitely really glad to go back to Warhammer 8th edition on this part. Now, basically, one thing won me this battle, and that was my monsters. This list was kind of like a monster mash type of list. The idea is that I charge into these individual units or on the flanks of these massively huge monsters, bring the pain of some of the things that they can do, and Dark Elves do monsters the best, in my opinion. So because of that, I was able to destroy my opponents on my terms with the monsters that I wanted to use. That Mana Core with its Blind Fury ability plus a D3 with my Beast Lord just ended up being awesome as well. Wrath of the Maw just curb stomped that dragon. Fears of the Broken didn't perform as well as I hope he will, but I think it's because I used him wrong. Also, another thing that helped me out was rerolls on everything. I got rerolls of hit, rerolls of wound, all kinds of stuff because of eternal hatred. With hatred against the high elves, I also got murderous prowess as well. So I got a lot of rerolls on that part. Same thing with lightning reflexes. So that always strikes first, which is also really helpful on that part as well. So because that definitely helped me out as there. Now, originally I thought I might have to rethink using my dread spears. I'm thinking about maybe going with something that has a little bit more staying power. Probably Black Ark Corsairs maybe because they have like a 4-up save because of their Sea Dragon cloaks opposed to 5-up. It's only one difference armor save, but at the same time though, Black Ark Corsairs also have access to repeater hand bows, which could also be used as additional weapons. So I don't know. I might have to rethink using that dread spears though. At the same time though, they are stubborn, so they are cheaper. So I don't know. Basically, I gotta take a look at that on that part. Also, combat with my monsters used was basically on point on this one as well. It gave me a very target-rich environment for my opponent to basically shoot at, and I think that's really helped me out a lot on this party. I had 3 huge monsters. He only had 2 bolt throwers, so he basically had to go scrambling, trying to figure out where he's going to shoot at. And because I left a lot of my other units kind of like unshot because of that part, so that part really helped out on that part as well. I also managed to dominate the magic phase in this one as well. Even though the magic rolls were kind of low, I was managed to dispelling all my opponent's spells because I was going against 2 level 2 wizards and I had 1 level 4 wizard. Plus, those 2 level 2 wizards had Vor of Fire as well as the basic 8 paths, so they don't get their +1 additional to cast because of high magic. Well, I had that +1 bonus because of my dark magic, so in my opinion, that kind of made all the difference in this one as well. Another thing I need to look out for as well is basically spreading myself out too thin on this part. A perfect example of this is when I sent Virisil the Broken to go charge up in the right-hand side against those Phoenix Guard. I shouldn't have really left him by himself on that part, so because I need to concentrate my forces a little bit, keep my guys kind of together. I gotta retreat these guys kind of like High Elves and realize that they really can't take anything on by himself for too long because the army lacks toughness in that case, so because of that, I gotta keep an eye out for that. Aside from that though, it's good to be back. I love Warhammer 8th edition, and I hope you guys love them too. I'm going to be doing this series every other Thursday for Throwback Thursday. I'm going to be alternating between this with Warhammer for 2,000 points and with Necromunda as well for my battle reports on Thursdays. And once again, also on Sundays, I'll be alternating between Ninth Age as well as Age of Sigmar. So that way you guys get 4 different shows and they just alternate every other week. So it'll be kind of nice to see that part. So yeah, once again, it's a great game, great opponent, had a blast playing this game. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Your guys' input's only making this channel better and the content getting better as well. So yeah, thank you for the feedback you guys have been getting me. It's good to be back in my vacation making this, and you guys take it easy. So happy holidays, you guys. I'll see you later.